This is a Rogue Media Network podcast.
I'm Jordan.
And I'm Rachel.
And this is Astrology Table for Two.
And there's always a third chair for you.
Hi, it's Rachel.
Hi, it's Jordan.
Hi, it's April.
And this is Astrology Table for Three today.
Yes.
Astrology Table for Three.
Always room at the table.
Where there's always room for me.
Yes. Just April.
This three top astrology day, we are talking the new moon in Scorpio on Friday, the 1st of November at 7:48 a.m. Central Daylight Time at 5 degrees of Scorpio. Now, I'm going to let the two super Scorpio women sitting across from me lead here.
Okay. That's a lot of pressure.
No, it's so good. Well, buckle up, people, because this is an intense new moon, and I just am so interested to see how this plays out. We have a lot coming. I think if I were to give it a theme, I would say this is transformative healing through uncomfortable situations.
How scorpionic.
Right. I mean, that is Scorpio's truest nature, right? It's to touch on the taboo. It's unearthing. It's shadow work. It's transformative healing. And something that I wanted to ask you about, Rachel, is there's a dynamic happening with Pluto as well for this new moon, right? And that feels like doubly intense.
So let's lay the land real quick by saying that Scorpio is the 8th sign in the zodiac. It is our fixed water sign ruled by Mars and represented by the scorpion. It rules the genitals and the excretory system, including the prostate, colon, urinary tract, and rectum. So all the taboo parts. It rules all of the taboo parts. But also in modern astrology, which I do not practice, but I do appreciate, they give Pluto rulership of
Co-rulership, yes, with Mars.
Right, with Mars. But also, Pluto is going to be very much involved, like kind of dynamically charged, because it is at 29 degrees of Capricorn.
Capricorn, yeah. The anaretic degree.
Yeah, the moon's ruler is at 29 Cancer. So Mars is at 29 Cancer, Pluto's at 29 Capricorn. This won't happen again in our lives at all. And the moon will never, a fuller new moon will never be ruled by Mars again while this Pluto opposition is happening.
Wow.
Because Pluto moves for good next month.
That's right.
So we're kind of like, this is the thing that your spouse or your family member has been telling you that you need to clean up, fix, transform for years and years and years. And that we've all been like, no.
Right.
Oh, yeah, sure, whatever.
And now it's piled in front of you. Yeah, you're like, well, I can't get around it. I have to clean it to get out of my way.
And now life is going to be like, yeah, you got to.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. We're coming up, obviously, on an election. And a big theme in this election has been reproductive rights for women, which feels very scorpionic to me. I mean, it is.
It is.
And so it just is. And so thinking about how that's been playing out in the conversation, who knows? We'll just see what happens. I did catch a little bit of a speech Michelle Obama gave where she specifically talks about this aspect of women's needing of healthcare, just women's healthcare issues coming to the forefront and calling out some things I haven't really ever heard said out loud in this kind of a political stage.
Right.
And so I find that really interesting, the timing of it all. Just that some of these things that are hidden that we don't like to say out loud. She even talked about menopause. And
who likes to talk about menopause?
No one. We don't like to talk about what's going on in our bodies. We don't even talk about them with our partners or doctors sometimes.
Access to birth control and condoms has also been a big thing I've seen in the news recently. And protecting that. And we're totally seeing the astrology of the moment playing out in the collective, right?
And that's what it is.
It's always reflected in the collective.
Major transformations happening.
And focus
coming
in
to
the
forefront.
area.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because Scorpio is
Hyperfixation.
focused.
Yeah, it is
Yeah,
hyper-focused.
Fixed water.
Yeah. It will be intense and get it out there. One small observation that I have about this new moon is the date. I love that it's on the 1st of like a month.
Yes,
Because
I
you know
vibe
it's
with
kind
that
of
too.
like in tarot, the, you know, the beginning of a journey when you go through the different suits. Yeah, I think that's just so Scorpio, because it's what is the transformation without the journey, right? And that's kind of the most important part. And so it's kind of like a new beginning, almost, in a way, for some people.
New moon, new beginning.
Yeah.
New moon,
we
new
love
beginning.
it.
Yeah.
Also, I think this is giving us kind of an intro to the next 6 months of Mars retrograde. And that's going to be like a hero's journey
Yep.
Yes.
type deal. Where,
Maybe not the fool's journey, but the hero's journey.
right, you know, there's that call to action or call to adventure, if you will. And then you go from there to the highs, lows, rebirth, and
Yeah,
you
the
come
dark
back.
night of the soul, you know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like Persephone journey, right?
Oh,
Ooh,
yeah.
Persephone, what a character.
With this Mars in Cancer, I'm really feeling a female energy in here. Like there is something very female about this moment. And I think like the American election, right? It's playing out something very female
Yes.
in this moment.
And we'll see how it plays out. I'm so curious. But I don't think we're going to know right away.
No.
Based on the
no.
astrology, I feel like it's going to be an interesting. It's not going to be a clear cut and dry.
No, but truths will be revealed.
Truths will
ultimately.
be
Yeah.
revealed.
Well, and the closest aspect that this lunation is making with any planet is a trine with Saturn retrograde at 12 degrees of Pisces. And Saturn takes time and patience, and it's retrograde. So we have some stuff to clean up, sort out, feel through, heal,
Mm-hmm.
right? Transform, evolve. Like there is some mess in everyone's life. And I'm saying some mess because Pluto's there at the end of Capricorn. And so wherever Capricorn is in your chart, kind of look in that area especially. And there is something that we are just finishing out, and we're not done yet.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We're
God, this is
about to
gonna
be
be
done,
intense. Yeah.
but we're not.
Yeah, growing. You have here growth through pain or challenge.
Mm.
Absolutely. It's that finding your edge with Saturn and pushing further. It's like, where can that challenge, that opposition, where can you go a little bit harder, a little bit further than you've gone before? And I also love this concept of letting people help you with things you don't want them to see.
Actually being vulnerable.
Actually
Yeah.
being vulnerable in the taboo places, in your shadow,
Mm-hmm.
letting that be revealed, revealing some darker sides that you don't want to face, and then letting your community, your collective, help you.
Trusting the process too.
Mm-hmm.
Because Scorpio is about trust.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh,
like
yeah.
Any sexual connection, which Scorpio rules all of, is a trust connection. You are absolutely naked. I mean, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, you might create a life, which is like the closest thing you can get to divinity in the present
Yeah.
moment.
Absolutely.
There is something very raw about this moment, for sure, and about allowing it to be what it is, as in we can hide it or we can reveal it. And I
Right.
think Scorpio is about the hiding and the
Oh,
revealing.
absolutely.
Ooh.
But that's, I feel like the best way to harness your power is to reveal it, right?
yes.
Because then you can actually see everything that you have in front of you.
Yes, it's holding things close to chest until the right moment and then putting your cards on the table. It's like in poker, obviously,
Strategy.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
the strategy of when to play the hand.
Mhm.
I just am reminded of the Lindsay Lohan Parent Trap movie. And you're on a royal flush. How she like lays it out.
Yes.
That's kind of this, right? Like you're holding it all and then boom, you win the game.
Right.
Well, Mercury's also in Scorpio, right? Mercury is also in Scorpio. So mentally and in terms of expression, we are in the same Scorpionic mindset, literally. But it's at 28 Scorpio. So it is trining Mars, and it will be, trining Mars.
Trining Saturn.
It's trining them both.
Oh, really?
Right?
Oh, well, yeah, because Saturn's in retrograde.
Damn.
Right. And so we have this like loose, and not even too loose, like it's 28, 29, 29.
Yeah.
I say, oh my God, Rachel, Saturn is not at the end of Pisces. This is Pluto. Pluto is making two, so like a sextile and then an opposition, and there's a trine, right? And so it's kind of active, but it's an opportunity, Oppositions never feel good. Sextiles are a choice, and trines are an inevitable flow into destiny. And so Mercury in Scorpio is going to have us, I think, that strategic thinking, the planning, the focus, the preparation for that right moment. You know, the moment right before you actually quit a habit or let something go, and it's like you can't make yourself not do X until the moment where you're like, you know what?
It's like something switches in your mind. It's crazy. Like, you know, when you are tired of like old patterns, like maybe in relationships, and you realize, why am I like hurting myself like this?
Right.
You
It's
know,
like you fight it, you fight it,
reframing.
you
Yeah.
fight it.
And then it's like you think suddenly it switches one day, and it's like, I'm tired of feeling this way.
Right.
But it
Like,
has to hurt enough for
I know,
that.
right?
I was literally just talking to friends at workout today about this. Just negative patterns for your health, specifically. I mean, but it can apply to anything, where you resist and you resist and you resist until it almost feels like it becomes life or death. Like if I don't, which so Scorpio and Pluto, if I don't do this, it will kill me.
Yeah.
And it's almost like the choice between complete abandonment of self or choosing yourself and what's in your best interest, your highest good.
I can't live like this.
I
Yeah.
can't live like this
Yeah.
anymore.
And it's
That
like,
statement.
will it kill you, or will you just be reborn?
Yes.
You know, like,
To
and
me,
that-
this is the moon, like what
Yeah.
we're talking about.
This is the moon.
This is intense.
And
I like it.
yeah, I don't mean for it to sound so big and bad. New moons are usually more,
Yeah.
plant seeds, grow
Right,
things,
yeah.
reset,
Plan,
rejuvenate.
Yeah.
This is not that moon.
No. It's
It's not even a typical fallen moon in Scorpio, right? The moon already doesn't love Scorpio because it feels a lot, and we don't love the deepest, most intense, unless you're a Scorpio.
Hey, wait a minute.
You know?
Yeah, slow down.
Like major felt sense, like big feelings. Scorpio can handle big feelings, and it has big feelings. But it's not even just that. This is like that on steroids. Like that with an imperative,
yeah.
Yeah.
right?
An imperative. Yes. The big feelings with some kind of chutzpah almost to get something done.
Where there's courage required, but it's
Yes.
also the courage of major change, which ends up being like you're going to look we are going to look so much different at the end of this Mars retrograde when it finally gets out of Cancer and Leo, where it's going to be, and when it finally enters Virgo in June. We're going to look back on this moment and be like, damn, a lot changed in a half year.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I'm excited. I always like looking back and seeing how much I've changed.
Do you like change, Jordan?
I no. But
Sag
but-
Sun says maybe.
I'm like,
but no, I'm
Yeah.
open to it. And that's the
Okay.
thing. It's for me, I have to look at it because it, having the contradiction of a Sagittarius sun and a Scorpio moon can be kind of intense. It's kind of like a battle between optimism and realism a lot of the time. And even, paranoia is my, Scorpio placements we can overanalyze, I think, to a degree where it can be very harmful. to us.
Internalize.
Yeah, internalize, repress, let things fester, But I had to start approaching change. It's an inevitability. It's going to happen. We're always changing. We're constantly, the people in our lives, we're going to lose people. We're going to meet new people.
Mhm.
We're going to go through grief.
Mhm.
But it's just a transformation, right? And I am so different from the person I was 5 years ago. And I used to look back at that part of myself or that person with shame because I didn't know the things that I know now, but I wouldn't be here without that person. And so,
That's alchemy.
yeah, change is change is so necessary. I don't like it all the time because it is painful. But you end up coming out feeling better normally. Change is, I have to be excited about it because if I'm not, I won't allow it to happen.
Yeah, your
And
Sag
so-
sun has to have a little fun with it.
I have to be curious about it. And I
Yeah.
think seeing how much I change and how happy I've been with the outcome of that helps like tremendously. So yeah, I think it can be a really exciting thing. It's not going to be fun all the time. Most of the time, it's not that fun, but
Well, it's chosen or it's imposed.
yeah, it's going to happen regardless. And that's the thing. It's like, you just have to
Yes.
know it's going to happen. And if you embrace it and go with it, it's going to be a lot easier than you trying to avoid it, because then it's going to happen in a way that's even worse. I don't want to say worse. It's going to happen in a way that you will not like.
Well, you're going to lose that battle
So,
against change.
Yeah, it's going to happen no matter what. So just try to be open-minded about it.
If you let it fester, it'll just get septic.
Yeah.
And then it's worse.
This is that new moon where it's like, are you going to let it fester and get septic, or are you going to take care of it now? Like you might not like the hospital, right? You might not like the treatment or the having to pause.
Yes.
Especially having to pause, but will you be better for it? Yes, because then you won't have to
Absolutely,
cut off the leg that's gangrenous or whatever.
Right.
Oh, absolutely.
We don't have to let things go so far that we can't come back from them. But I think it's important to remind the Scorpio part of ourselves, the law of conservation, right? Nothing is actually created or destroyed. And so when we do this alchemy, it's just the same matter in different form. You're not losing anything.
Right. And when you realize you have the power to change, like transmute, right?
Yes.
Use that alchemy. It's becomes more empowering and more exciting to know that you have that power to do that. So
I think that message is so well said, Jordan,
Thank
and
you.
so relevant to a lot of people who maybe aren't as into this dark shit like me.
Hey, I'm into dark shit too.
I know
don't
you
worry.
are. I know. But you also bring some levity, which I think is very relatable. So
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for describing that.
Absolutely.
Well, one thing that always helps too with intensity is being able to like laugh, right? Like, have you ever seen people in horrible situations, like minors being
Dark
stuck
humor.
down? You've got to laugh about it or you'll cry.
Yeah. Oh.
And probably both, right?
There's got to be a balance.
Because Mars is in Cancer, so we will be up and down.
Yeah. And laughter is a good medicine too.
Yeah.
You know, so I think
we're
it's
gonna feel protective and want to fight over the things that matter deeply to us, that feel very close to home. Cancer, home, mother, nurturer. So yeah, I could see that really getting intense.
Yep.
I feel like the antidote is going to be, and I know I'm getting ahead of ourselves just slightly, but maybe we should break, because Mercury is going to enter Sagittarius, and it will be like going from our like villain arc into probably our like Hercules journey. Like, now let's go out.
Let's go out. Let's party.
Let's grow.
Let's be open. Let's meet new people.
Yeah. Optimism.
Yeah.
Faith. Exactly. But before that, Faith, we have a break for a word for some sponsors that we have faith will be here.
Yes.
All right, and now we are back with our top 3 transits of this lunar cycle. The first one being that joyful Mercury entering Sagittarius on Saturday the 2nd, so just one day after, at 2:16 p.m. Central Daylight Time. How are we feeling about this sort of levity that's on the horizon?
I think excited is a good word. I say it a lot, but I'm kind of excited. I don't know if I probably have experienced Mercury in Sagittarius, but now that I'm aware of it.
Isn't Mercury in its detriment in Sag?
Yes. So both of these are true. Sagittarius, hold on. It is the 9th sign, mutable fire, ruled by Jupiter and represented by the centaur Archer. It rules the thighs, the legs, and the liver. YOLO. But Mercury is indeed in its detriment in Sagittarius, and it has a hard time sort of being understood or focused on minutia specifically. Yeah. It's more big picture. It's more visionary. It's more spiritual, questy.
Yes.
Like, let's go out, that kind of a vibe, which isn't always good for accounting, accuracy, clarity. And sometimes it can yap a little much, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah.
One thing that came to mind was exaggerating or getting the facts confused and people stating beliefs as facts. So
Sagittarians preach a lot.
I
know because I am one.
And also
it's the preacher sign.
Yes. Just like people are going to be on soapboxes a little bit.
Oh my God.
Oops.
So watch,
might be me.
Just
Sorry,
watch
ladies.
out for that. Like, just be aware that just because someone is intensely telling you their truth, it doesn't necessarily make it true.
Right. And you don't have to take it personally.
Correct.
I feel like we could though, because so the sun, right? The sun is in Scorpio, makes the new moon. But the sun will still be in Scorpio when Mercury's in Sag, and that's 12 places behind, so 12th house. And if we're going off,
Ooh.
I'm sure somebody on a soapbox is going to deeply offend somebody out in the crowd
Oh yeah.
who's going to Scorpio sun and be like, oh my God, I can't believe that.
Yeah.
I'm never going to trust that person again. just
And they're
the
gonna watch
stewing.
their every move.
Yes. So I think taking yourselves lightly and others lightly, like letting it kind of come in and out unless you feel some value to it, is the way to do Mercury and Sag.
For sure. Yeah, let the wave just flow through you. Don't take it and hold on to it.
Right. Yeah. And I like that Rachel said yapping. I think
Yapping
that's,
is a great term.
Sagittarians can be a little bit delusional sometimes, and I think it's just the excitement and like the hopefulness and the optimism. So
No, I love it though, but this could be a good time to dream big dreams.
Mhm.
If
Yep.
you want to get caught up in the fairy tale, maybe you're writing some fiction. Maybe you want to do some something creative. Maybe you want to imagine something big like that hero's journey that Rachel said earlier. So there are ways to harness the energy in a very positive
right, rather than
way.
just spewing it into the ether,
Right.
you're kind of actually utilizing it.
Well, and the enthusiasm will be contagious, like mutable fire, right? Forest fires spread
yeah.
where there's kindling. And so the thing I am excited about is when things are nuts, and like everybody can agree, right? Look at the world around us expressing the astrology. This American election, crazy, no matter which side of the aisle you're on.
Oh yeah,
It's just crazy.
It's just wild.
The war in the world, like freaking Israel just hit Iran with a missile. You're like, Jesus, like
Yeah.
things are a little crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And so knowing that, I think Mercury and Sag, we have to come out with the antidote to all of that chaos, which is joy.
Laughter.
Yes.
And joy is hard to come by. Like this new moon in Scorpio isn't going to be like, joy. No.
It's gonna be like joy? Question mark.
Side eye.
The
Yeah.
Batman, joy.
Joy.
Yeah, the Batman voice.
But remember, Venus is also in Sag. So we will have
Mm.
Mercury and Venus there. And I think if we can just take time to appreciate people and things, I feel like Mercury and Sag can appreciate, the beautiful sunset or
Oh,
the
absolutely.
delicious food or the journey and not the destination.
Do something that feels good,
Yeah.
just for the sake of it.
Okay, so everything we were talking about with the new moon, to me, this is a new moon for yin yoga, right?
Ooh.
Yin being like the stretching, the cold stretch where you
Mhm.
find your edge and you hold it, extended postural holds until the edge moves. We're doing that emotionally. But while Mars is especially in Cancer, like moving our body to deal with emotions and feelings and work through it literally, such good medicine. But I think with the Sagittarius stuff, put joy in there.
Right.
You want to dance, dance. You want to flow. You want to bike. What do you want to do?
Yeah. And who cares if
Yes.
someone's watching?
This is like dancing in the moonlight
Yeah.
energy. Like
Ooh.
one of my dear friends talks about like the astrology is just the star map. It's the weather report. It's what exists. We get to choose what to do with it. So if it's raining, some people will dance in the rain. Some people will hold up an umbrella and get where they're going. Some people will just not leave. You have free will and we have a choice with how to navigate this. So do you want to be working with it, dancing with it, moving your body through it? Are you going to, hibernate? Are you going to, make up your mind and make a decision about how you want to work with it? But there are options available.
Right. I imagine dancing in the moon naked.
Yeah, dancing in the moonlight naked.
Well,
Something
and
taboo but exciting.
we need to get good with what we're dancing with in life right now, especially because Mercury is going to enter its retrograde shadow. Mercury will retrograde here in Sag on the 7th. So 5 days after it enters. Enjoy these first 5 days. Dance around, like know that you're not going to come back to this territory. But as of the 7th, we'll be covering every bit of that because Mercury stations retrograde on the 25th of November, and it will not clear its shadow until January 2nd of 2025. So the rest of the year, we are dealing with these dance partners, to keep going with that metaphor.
Oof. Yeah, they're not that. Again, I feel like this is why we have to deal with whatever issues are coming up with us, because we're just going to be going in circles.
Right.
You could either feel like you're working with it and you're working through it, or you're just circling, spiraling, repeating. And
Right.
we all need to get out of that.
And when you dance with a partner, you need to practice,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you
Mm.
don't continue to make the same mistakes.
100%.
Well, and we will also have, I think, a better mental attitude for change, which we need to make, which Mars retrograde, which this new moon, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Mercury and Sag, I think, makes it easier to alchemize,
Mm-hmm.
right? And be like, you know what? I'll get my head around that. Yeah, sure, my routine's going to change. But you know what? I want this. I choose it.
Right.
Let's go.
It's going to happen regardless anyway.
Mm-hmm. I might have to adapt, but Mercury and Sag can adapt with like a positive bent
Oh, yeah.
instead of Mercury and Scorpio being like, I hate
Rats
this.
of frats. Like, you know,
Yeah.
like the cartoons, and they're like mumbling under their breath. They're like, rats.
Yeah, I know exactly. And Mercury will be here in Sagittarius until the 13th of January. So get used to this sort of, how do I put this, hyper mind. Mercury and Sag, it can be a lot of like, you're thinking about one thing and then you end up in this totally
Yeah,
different
kind of
rabbit
scattered.
hole.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Yes. And then next transit is also fiery. So second transit, Mars will enter Leo on Sunday, November 3rd at 10:06 p.m. Mars in Leo. How do we feel about that?
Fire on fire.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, so Leo is the 5th sign of the zodiac, fixed fire sign, ruled by the sun, symbolized by the lion, and ruling the heart, spine, and upper back. And then we have, so Leo, I love Leo. Rachel and I are Leo rising. This is how
Love Leos.
we love Leos. We
I love y'all too.
I'm really into Leo rising. You know who also has a Leo rising?
Who?
Donald Trump.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
Lord.
And Mars in Leo. So
And
when
Mars
you
in
think
Leo.
of Mars and Leo, think about Donald Trump.
Yes, that's a great metaphor. I don't even know. Archetype is probably the better word.
He embodies it
Just
literally.
ridiculous. Maybe is that what Mars and Leo is going to be?
Well, it's self-righteous. It can
Yeah.
be bombastic. It can be like
a great word.
confident, forward, just sort of buzzworthy.
Okay.
Yeah, all of those things. And there are good things about that energy. There's a good high vibe and a low vibe to everything.
Yep.
And so, if you want to work with this, think about where do you need to accelerate courage in your life? Where do you need to stand up and be the leader? Where do you need to call things out? I think, love him or hate him, people say he says things out loud that people are thinking that they won't say out loud. And that does take courage at times. And so,
Boldness.
boldness. So where is that showing up for you? Where is that a good thing? And where do you need to, take a beat and pause?
I love that explanation.
Well, we are also in the beginning of Leo, where we're not going to move further with Mars. Mars will station retrograde at 6 degrees of Leo on the 6th of December. And it will remain very slow and call attention to itself there. So we're gonna have Mars in Leo until April 3rd.
Wow.
But we are already, like, all of this Mars in Leo is retrograde shadow territory. But I like the beginning of it because it's going to be kind of like, I'm confident.
Yeah.
I'm bold.
Boisterous. Yeah.
I'm, getting out there. And then, when you get out there, like maybe you go out on stage and you actually bomb.
Yeah.
Like you don't
Yeah.
do well. And then you're like, oh, okay, I got to work on that act.
Yeah.
All right. Back to the
I'm
drawing
not,
board.
I'm not as funny as I thought I was.
Right.
Right. So I think the beginning of this until the retrograde station on the 6th, we have more of that opportunity to like punch forward into the future,
Yeah.
to lead, right? To dare greatly.
Yeah.
Like very Brene Brown is what I
Yeah,
get.
I was
Like,
just going to say, thank you for bringing up Brene. That feels like medicine.
we
during
are
this
reading
time.
that in our book club at work at my new job.
Oh, nice.
Yay.
Already, I
Oh my
know
God.
it's great because we're reading Brene. Like that's my assignment. Read Brene Brown. You're like, yes, I will dare
Absolutely,
to lead.
yeah.
Let's go. Yeah, that's very Mars and Leo high vibe. I think low vibe,
Yes.
it can be just sort of self-interest and
Mhm.
narcissism
Right.
and being bombastic or like being just belligerent.
Yeah. Not leading by
Belligerent.
example.
Yes.
Setting a bad example.
Setting a bad example.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
It's like using all the privilege for your own self and
Mhm.
not keeping in mind how your actions impact others.
Yeah.
Yeah, we want more self, less selfish.
Right.
Amen.
And
Love
I
that.
think the other astrology is going to remind us when we get off
Mhm.
track there. But I do think this will be fun. And with all
Mhm.
the stuff in Sag and then the stuff that's happening, to me, this is the beginning of, well, we're getting into the rough season, but we've still got the next lunation being an exalted moon in Taurus. We're going to have all this stuff in Sag and Leo. So I feel like we can have a tiny bit of fun before we get the real, like, I'm not going to lie, guys. I'm not looking forward to December.
Oh
I don't
my
think it's going to be
Really?
that. No, I don't think it's going to be that fun.
Rachel.
Crap.
I'm not going to say it's shit astrology, but I wouldn't pick it
It's just tough.
Yeah.
It's tough. Yeah.
It's tough.
for anything. But we're going to have the heart to deal with it because our third transit happens.
With Venus entering Capricorn on Monday, November 11th at 12:24 p.m.
You are a natal Venus in Capricorn.
I am.
Yeah, that's why I needed you on that one. Capricorn is the 10th sign, our cardinal earth sign ruled by Saturn and symbolized by the goat, ruling the knees, body, hair, skin, joints, bones, and teeth. So all the stuff that holds us up in space. And I feel like Venus and Capricorn, those people hold the world up in space. They're the ones who are like consistent. They are helpful. They're service oriented. Like Venus and Capricorn, to me, she's really good at being there with what you need.
I love that.
Thanks, girl.
Hey, you're good at that. And you're good at sort of being resourceful, right? And being, what's the word? Growing things. Cardinal Earth,
yes.
right? We grow things. So like gardening,
Yeah.
raising, animals or kids, like Venus and Capricorns. And I think that's going to be a nice asset or tool for us to use during the good times and the bad times.
Yes.
The Swiss Army knife of Venus and Capricorn.
Yeah, Capricorn is such a grounded sign as well. And it's, and those are the things, those qualities that you just listed, excuse me, are what I look for in my relationships with people. Surprise! In my relationships with people.
I was just going to ask if you could talk a little bit about like what that feels like: pleasure, love, romance.
Yeah, it's kind of,
relationships.
and I think Capricorn gets kind of a lot of, I don't want to say hate, but people are just like, oh, that's so boring. And like, it's so professional and like,
buttoned up.
buttoned up and like business deal. And,
I mean, I love that.
not it's right. It's not seen as really valuing love and relationships, but Capricorn placements are the ones that I've known and I care about deeply, who are in my life, are the most generous people. Very servant heart, like oriented, just without even thinking will, take care of their friends without batting an eye. Like that's just,
But take care of the stuff that's not the fun stuff.
Right.
Venus and Capricorn people are like, hey, when you need someone to drop you off and pick you up when
From
your
the
car's at the
airport.
like
shop.
I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it's like, it's the inconvenient, what some might see as like super inconvenient. They're like, no, that's not a big deal at all because I love you and I care about you.
Like
Yes.
Jordan is the person I always ask to house sit our house.
I love house sitting her house.
Okay.
She's,
Love through practicality.
Mhm.
It's like
Yes.
acts of service is a love language.
yes.
Like showing up and doing the thing, watering your plants while you're out of town,
Mhm.
just like basics.
And for me, it's like, I don't know, it's fun opportunity to just like a little bit of change. I get to stay somewhere else. And
Yeah.
I love their house. It's absolutely beautiful. The energy is wonderful there. I'm always at such peace being out there, and I get to be out in the country again. And I grew up out in the country. And so it's kind of like going back to my roots almost. It feels like I get to experience, the beautiful sunsets and the quiet. Don't love the bugs, but that's just what happens when you're,
It's the country.
when you're in the country, that's part of it.
I have for Venus and Capricorn everyday luxuries. That I
Every
feel like
day.
the sunrise or sunset, like
Yeah.
the things that you always post on your
Yeah.
Instagram stories. That is the everyday, like,
Yeah.
oh, this is my small beauty.
Yeah.
in the mundane.
I was actually just as I was leaving my house, the way that I go down my street, there's houses down my street that have some really beautiful old, like large trees in their yard. And I love it when houses have like the big old trees. And I just was looking at them blowing in the wind, and the sky was just so beautiful. And I was like, I love this time of year because the sky just seems more crisp. There's just like more sharpness and light to it. And the way the clouds were just like hitting beyond the trees, I was like, oh, what a beautiful day. And it was crazy like how that just like made my day. It made me so happy just seeing that.
Someone I used to work with would tell us, there is a sunrise and a sunset every day. And so every day we can experience some beauty and some
Yeah.
magic. And everyday luxuries. That's it.
And they're always different.
Mhm.
They're always unique.
I think Venus in Capricorn too can appreciate dedication, routine, rhythm. Appreciating rhythm, I think, is a big one.
Mhm.
But also she is able to enjoy even periods in my mind without great joy. I love right now that Venus in Capricorn, she will be sextile to the ruler of Capricorn, Saturn, right there in Pisces. So it's an opportunity, I think, to, say you have a lot of work one day, or there's not a lot of time, or, you have a lot of chores. You can still have a good day with Venus in Capricorn, even if your day is full of chores.
Right.
It makes me think of almost creating an aesthetic around studying, or like dark academia core, or like
Yeah.
really,
Yes,
really
yes.
getting into this energy of, I have my latte, I have my books, I have my
Right.
work, and being in love with the checklist of things you have to get done, of just things that are organized, and going through it, and doing it,
Right.
not because it's inherently pleasurable or joyful, but because there's something satisfying about it.
Right. And love is shown in consistency. So even if it's self-love or like love in your relationships, just showing up for yourself when you're creating a new pattern, like a new
Yes.
study habit, maybe, it's not going to be fun all the time, but that consistency, you're learning, you're growing, you're enjoying your latte. Like, you look forward to the
Yeah,
moment because
right.
you're making it beautiful.
You're making it
Yeah.
beautiful. Yeah, love and joy in the mundane.
I feel like this also, Venus and Capricorn, will help us do all the alchemy, changing, transforming, melting down, whatever, asking for help, all the stuff we were talking about during that new moon in Scorpio portion. Venus in Capricorn is also sextile to Scorpio. So we have that opportunity, that 60-degree angle of the nature of Venus itself. It's not for sure going to happen, but if you choose to accept help or ask or take that, path that you're a little afraid of, Venus in Capricorn has got you. She's
Yeah.
orienteering, right? She's like, all right, we're going this way. I'm like, oh,
Yeah, it's
right that
grounded.
way.
You're not just going to be goo, melted into goo, flowing everywhere.
Yeah, it's like the compass is there. Just let it orient. Let the divine energy kind of pull you in the right direction, and then make the choice to go with it.
Right.
And I feel like this is the works with the faith.
Mm-hmm. Works
Venus
with the
in
faith.
Capricorn has the works down. And then Mercury and Sag is like, and faith. We
And
got
faith.
it.
Endless faith.
Yeah, right. Sometimes Delulu.
Yeah.
Sometimes
okay.
Delulu.
But this cycle, I think, is going to be a lot. Our next lunar cycle, though, will be this exalted full moon in Taurus on the 15th of November. Taurus placements
How do
all
you
over
feel
here.
about this?
I'm stoked.
Good.
Can't
Yay.
wait. But everybody's going to like it. It's where
Yeah.
the moon likes its life the best.
Yeah,
And
it's gonna
after these
feel good.
Mhm.
eclipses and Mars ruled lunations, I feel like it will be
Like a
Yeah.
sigh of relief.
Yes,
Yeah.
a sigh of relief.
Oof.
And then we got to buckle up for December, apparently. Watch out.
I mean, Mars will station, all that enjoyment. We still have a new moon in Sag after.
Mm.
Everybody loves a new moon in Sag,
Yep.
right?
Yeah,
It's fun.
of course.
Right.
But yeah. Look forward to December. Look forward to making a lot of pivots, changes, and saying a little bit of no to things.
Mhm.
Maybe like resting.
Oh, yeah. Asserting boundaries.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it's coming into winter, like it's the season of hibernation, of doing less, of being internal. So think about ways that you can build in margin and buffer so that you are not stretched to your max.
Yep. And now is the time to plan with this moon in Scorpio. Let's
Love the planning
let's
season.
strategize.
Yes, meticulous planning.
Well, on that note, thanks you guys for listening, and we'll see you next month.
See you next time.
Thank y'all.
This has been a Rogue Media Network production. Are you a podcaster? Let's talk podcast hosting. Are you tired of your current podcast host? Need real support in a community that gets it? At Rogue Media Network, we offer top-tier podcast hosting services to help you thrive. From hosting and distribution to dedicated support, we've got you covered. Starting as low as $25 a month. Join our community of passionate podcasters today. Contact us at hello@roguemedianetwork.com.